So yeah, we're going to test one position of the mic, see what looks better. This is a little closer. You can see I've got maybe 2 fingers gap here. You can hear me brushing the mic windscreen there. So I've got 2 fingers gap there, and it's pointing kind of sideways to my mouth. Just a little bit angle. I'm not going straight in because that makes it really, you get the proximity effect obviously, but then you've got the option of plosives and that kind of stuff that you don't really want. So I do like speaking away from it, but I'm trying to get the position in and what looks best. So now I'm going to move it back a little bit. Now I'm about 4 fingers away. So if I did the hang loose, I'm about just over halfway, which is good enough for dynamic mic. I might want to move a little bit closer. When you've got a condenser mic, you want the hang loose sign, you want the full distance of that. I'll show you. I'll bring the condenser over. This isn't too bad. It doesn't sound too wonky. So I'm going to pause the sound at the moment because I don't want you to hear the clunking about to get this. So I'll just be a sec. Okay, so now I've switched over to the TZ Audio Products Stellar X2. This is like the full hang close or whatever it is from my mouth. It's about just underneath me, so I'm kind of speaking over it, and I'm speaking across it, so you'll still get the volume coming through. But this would be a nice option to give you more clarity, hopefully. Apart from me, I'm not using it, clarity. But anyway, it'd give you more options to show more on screen while still getting a great sound coming through your microphone. And obviously you can go into post-production later and clean it up if you need to do that. So what I'm going to switch back to the SM7B now. So now you can hear me back on the SM7B, and I'm still about, I'm maybe just about halfway. So a little bit less distance to the SM7B than I am to the TZ Stellar X2. But this is the difference that you can hear on a dynamic mic versus a condenser mic. So you can hear this, and these are all on like neutral. There's no processing going on. I could put processing on because I use the Rodecaster Pro II, so I could put the SM7B setting or the condenser mic setting or the dynamic mic setting and put some processing on. But basically what you're hearing at the moment is just flat Rodecaster Pro II and flat Shure SM7B, flat Stellar X2. So let's just switch back to the Stellar. So again, coming back to the Stellar, and I can really hear a difference in the quality, or just the tone, not the quality. I can really hear a difference in the tone between the two microphones. So I'm curious, this would be like the normal setup if I was recording and streaming, etc. And I'm just curious which one is more preferable to the setup for the streaming point of view and the recording point of view, but then listening back, what's more preferable to the volume, because obviously I can go into post, and if there's too much echo, which hopefully there shouldn't be, but if there's too much echo, I can fix that in post. But it doesn't sound great when you're streaming, obviously, and when you're coming across live. So I'm curious what would sound better from that point of view. Would it be the Stellar X2, which is a condenser? It's a large diaphragm condenser mic, so it gives that warmer, richer tone, or it should give that warmer, richer tone, as opposed to the dynamic, which you have to kind of push a little bit more to get the volume and the sound out. So let's just switch back again to the Shure. So now we're back on the Shure. So you can hear again flicking between the two microphones. Once again, this is all sort of standard, but what I'm going to try now, I'm going to just hit the processing and give you a little sound of processing switched on both mics through the Rodecaster. So I'm going on to the processing preset, and now I'm on the podcast studio. So this is the podcast studio through the Rodecaster Pro II for the Shure microphone. So it does add a bit more of compression. It does add a bit more big bottom and a bit more of that bassiness, that boominess that you'd expect to hear from a more produced sound on post-production. Let's try the same thing on the X2. So this is the podcast studio on the Shure SM7B Rodecaster Pro II. Now we're back to the TZ Stellar X2, currently on neutral. So let's put podcast studio onto this one. And now we've got podcast studio on the TZ to see what that comes across like. It's kind of weird. I must be in reverse here. I need to flip this because when I'm looking at the screen, mind you, no, it is to my right, to my left. On the screen, it looks different from what I'm actually seeing it. So that's where it's a little bit different. So anywho, so this would be the Stellar X2 using the podcast studio. I'm going to go back to neutral. So that's back on neutral. And you can hear it's taken away that boominess, that sort of deeper voice, deeper tones, more bass, obviously, in the podcast studio. It's straight back to neutral. This is purely the X2. Well, actually, you know what? Let's go back one more. This has got neutral processing, so it's got a little bit of tiny depth, sparkle, and punch to it. So I'm going to switch that off completely, which will bring me back to the mic on its own. So this is just purely the TZ microphone out the box, if you like. No processing whatsoever, just the mic coming through on the Rodecaster Pro II. There's absolutely zero processing on it, and I can hear the difference between this and neutral. So I'm going to do the same to finish off with the Shure. But let's put the processing back on for the TZ. So there we go. We got the processing on. And again, it's not a lot. It's just adding a tiny little bit of depth, tiny little bit of sparkle, tiny little bit of punch, just to give you that. A little bit more than what a mic would sound like coming straight out of the box. So this has been the TZ Stellar X2. And let's finish off with the Shure. So you can hear the neutral. Again, it's got that little bit of preset on there, which is a little bit depth, which I can add more to. If I didn't want to get involved in the advanced stuff on the Rodecaster Pro II, I can just basically mess about with depth, sparkle, and punch, and maybe get a nice sound profile that way. But this is purely the processing now on the depth, sparkle, and punch. But I'm going to take this off. And there we go. So now you're hearing just the SM7B with absolutely zero processing out the box. I'm going to flick between the two of them now because I want to take this back to the TZ when I go to that. But both of them now have got zero processing. So this is the SM7B, zero processing. Sorry, I messed about with the buttons there. I should have done that. So this is the SM7B, zero processing, straight out the box. No fancy effects on the Rodecaster. It's at flat mode. There's no presence boost or bass roll off on the back of this mic. Purely out the box, flat. Then we go back to the TZ Stellar X2, purely out the box again. There's nothing in here whatsoever apart from the straightforward microphone. So I'm just curious what it all sounds like, what it looks like from a recording point of view, from a streaming point of view. As I get ready to go more into video, we'll just see which one works best. Let's have a listen.